guys, welcome back to another episode of the TastyDoom podcast. Without further ado, let's jump into another episode. Alright, at last we left off. You guys were floating on your lonely spider in the middle of the ocean when a thick fog started to encroach on you. You guys could see the giant shadow of a ship coming towards you. But as it finally came through and burst through the fog, you noticed that the entire ship seemed to be built on the skeleton of some creature. You guys scaled the side of the ship, trying to be as stealthy as you could, but there were no sounds from the ship whatsoever. Taking your time, Paul, you climbed your way up to the top and peeked over. You could see a battle scene where many of undead creatures had fought something and have died, and their bodies lay motionless on the floor. Kovdar and Ivan, you guys do manage to follow him up into the top, where you guys start your investigation on what had happened. You guys could see scorch marks in the wood, and many of the bodies of the undead were either torn in two or partially burned. Thinking it better, you guys decided to clean the ship of the undead, throwing them overboard and letting the fish have their first meal. You guys make your way into the captain's quarters, and you see a chart that shows the path of what the ship was. You guys managed to figure out that the ship had turned around and was going the opposite direction. Wanting to figure out what else the ship might have been holding, made your way downstairs, where Paul, you happen to see faint movement of something invisible but tiny in the room. Playing your ignorance, you walked over to what was a large pentagram that had been carved into the wood of the ship, with these 4 crystals hovering just on either side. As you walked over, the invisible form seemed to not even notice, as you deftly reached over and grabbed a hold of the imp that had cast invisibility on itself. Kovdar managed to speak to it in Abyssal, but in its dire need and its terrified situation, it spoke the command word and activated the portal in the middle of the room. You guys could feel the intense heat instantly encroach in the room as a tear in the middle of the pentagram manifested itself. 2 individuals came crawling through. They looked like scorched and burnt humanoids with fires erupting in their hands. They rushed forward, you guys managing to easily take down the first 2 as another one come through the portal. And as you guys took care of the last one in the room, 2 large hands reached through the portal, tearing it open even wider as a large sword demon pulled through and unsheathed his fiery blade. After a short battle and half of the ship being destroyed in the process, you guys managed to put down the sword demon. But as it does, it turns around to Kovdar that gave it the finishing blow, grabbed him, and told him that their accomplishments meant nothing, that Cole would lose this war, and that the demons would claim the world for themselves. Before it seemed to envelop in infernal energy and exploded, taking most of the floor underneath you, you guys managed to just barely jump out of the way. As you guys gather your wits and figure out that Cole was an ancient mage from this very land, Kovdar, you managed to hear a bell, not one from the ship, but one in the distance. As you rush your way to the top deck, you see that the fog itself has separated, that you are headed towards a port city. Ivan, knowing there's not very much to do, just jumps off of the ship, but both of you wanting to try to save the town from the destruction of the ship running into it. You guys grab rope from the center mast and jump into the water below. Both of you grabbing onto the rudder and forcing the ship to turn, narrowly missing one of the ships that is docked as the ship crashes into the coastline and beaches itself, rolling over to its side. Kovdar, you reaching in to your divine powers, you manage to grab Paul at the last minute, and you guys raise out of the waters. You've cast flight on yourself. You manage to look back to the port and see 4 individuals, one an older man with 3 other women of varying ages standing beside him. You float your way over and land on the shore, putting Paul down beside you as you guys can hear Ivan splashing his way to the shore and walking up behind you. What do you guys wish to do?
So did we land near the ship?
Yeah.
I will run over to the ship.
Okay.
I'm looking for body parts of that sword demon. Maybe even the sword.
Ooh,
is the sword just there?
So the ship is over on its side. So you're going to have to try to run all the way around, knowing that there could be a magical item or another item that you could use to forge a new weapon. You just turn and take off, leaving these 2 behind.
Yep.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check as you make your way into the ship.
18.
You find 3 large shards of what used to be the sword demon's sword. What do you 2 wish to do as Paul rushes off?
I'd like to try to find something to cover my pumpkinness.
The ship has tilted over, and the rags that made up the sails are on the ground.
I will try to get those rags and fashion me up something nice.
Okay. So as you look up and look towards the port, you can see the 4 individuals moving their way towards you at a slow pace. You, taking the initiative, just dart off right behind Paul, headed for the cells. You take out your silvered longsword and just cut away at a large section of the sheet and wrap yourself in it. Govdar.
I would help him with the sail.
Okay.
You see me walk off the ship with like these 3 metal shards.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they're probably about, because that blade was probably about that thick. So you have varying pieces of about a 5 to 6 inch wide blade.
I'm gonna put it in my bag. Oh, is the spider carcass still on the ship?
Floating.
If it is, I grab it. If I see it in the water nearby and I don't have to swim to it.
So it was on the ship, and you left it.
So basically, when we climbed up, I'm imagining like kind of a basic ship design where it's like the main deck and it's got stairs that go up on both sides, with the captain's quarters like right there in the middle. I imagine that I set it right there next to the edge of the ship.
Okay. So go ahead and roll me another perception as you're looking for the spider.
Another 18.
That is not bad. So the spider is missing a couple of legs. As the ship hit, it actually ejected the spider forward, and it is on the side of the hill. But it's there.
And I guess I'm also gonna tie that to my back.
Dude, leave the spider.
Are you kidding me?
What are you gonna do with the spider?
I'll figure something out.
God damn it.
I am now giving you the title Corpse Collector.
Oh, was there any body parts of the demon as well? Sorry.
No.
Sword, no body parts.
Only just parts of the sword.
Completely exploded. Blood?
Nope.
Fire?
Scorched wood.
Demon ashes?
Probably gone in the wind.
Before I don't allow the rule of cool, I will allow a perception check to see if you can find some demon ashes.
That one's a 16.
No, you don't manage to find any.
Alright. Good enough.
Yeah, so you've got 3 shards of the demon sword, a spider attached to your back that's missing like 2 or 3 of its legs.
I got what I needed.
Ivan, you are now wrapped in a makeshift cloak. Kovdar, you guys turn around as the 4 individuals approach you. Who are you and what brings you to our land?
Hi, my name's Paul. I got a spider on my back. I'm just holding out an arm. I'm soaking wet.
Hi, nice to meet you, Paul.
This unsteerable ship is what brings us.
I noticed that was quite the show you just put on trying to get into our town. You could have just docked it normally.
Oh, we would have loved to. We would have absolutely loved to have docked. but it wouldn't slow down. I don't know how to sail a ship very well, particularly, and the steering wheel was doing nothing. So we managed to pull the rudder enough to turn the ship and ditched.
Well, at least you are able to keep it from hitting our port, from destroying our docks or even one of our ships.
Or even maybe that big warehouse in the distance.
Well, that's a good thing, because that is where we store all of our fish. Well, my name is Unwin. Welcome to Port Knot.
I'm Govdar.
It is good to meet you, Govdar.
I'm Ivan. Nice to meet you.
You seem like a very shady fellow. Why can't I see your face?
He has an old injury. It's very gruesome.
Yeah.
Yet there seems to be some light coming underneath his
You're
hood.
not shaming him, are you?
No, it's just 3 individuals into our little town, and I kind of just want to know them before they actually come into town.
Is this town limits?
Yeah, sort of, kind of, yeah. It's more of like the general area. You see that wall over there? And he points back, and you can actually see that the town is covered by actually a really thick cobblestone wall that's probably 15 feet tall. And the ship has just landed on one side of it.
On the actual wall, or
The ship, when it tilted, almost hit that wall.
So are those women with him, or did they stay back while he came over?
No, they're with him.
You haven't introduced us to your lovely friends.
So one of the girls is like 18, early 20s, right? Another girl seems to be in her 40s, and then the other woman is there. You can tell that she has like long, stringy white hair, and she's about the same age as Unwin himself. This is my granddaughter, Diana. My daughter, Marthina. And then this is my wife, Wendy. Welcome to Port Knot.
glad to meet you.
Well, I would like to invite you back into the town.
Be very grateful if you could show us around.
It'd be my pleasure. Looks like you guys have had quite the time on that ship.
You have no idea.
Do you think anyone in town might be interested in buying the ship? It actually, it managed to come out pretty, other than the other damage it had.
From the looks of it, it looks like it's pretty well damaged. So we're
But
probably just going to burn it.
It's fixable.
We are a small fishing village. We do not have the funds.
Can I
nor the-
sell it as firewood?
How about we go back into town?
I don't have any money, so that's why. We'll just go into town.
We'll talk about the ship later. All right. Well, Unwin leads you guys back into town. There's something off about this town. As you guys are walking through, there are no men in this town. Unwin is the only elder man in this city.
So, Unwin, why do I not see any men around?
So let me finish. So you do see children running around, girls and boys, but as far as teenagers or people children of age, there are none. No young adult men, no older men. Unwin is the only elder man in the city. The women are all of various ages. Some of them, like I said, some of them are children. Others are mothers still taking care of their children, either like early 30s, some in their 40s, and then there are several women that are well within their 60s and up. But there are no men in the city.
So, Unwin, I don't see any men around. Are they all fishing or something?
Our men were taken. They were taken by Cole. Come into my house. We will sit down and discuss this matter further. But I am more curious about how you guys ended up on that ship.
I'm kind of just looking at Ivan and Paul like, should we tell him?
We just climbed on top of it.
Well, you see, I was kidnapped. It was like a year and a half ago. It was a long story. I'm not going to really go through it. I was foraging for a year and a half under captivity, and then these two showed up, and we broke out, and there's a cave of spiders, and I gestured to the spider on my back, and we found a hole, and we went through the hole, and it was a cliff, and now we were in water, and then the ship with fog just showed up, and it was like, ship, spider, and we took the ship.
All right,
also
so
the spider.
as you guys are talking,
Different reasons.
Unwin is taking you through the city. You guys do see plenty of the women their sleeves are rolled up and they are gutting fish, and you can see some of the children are bringing back baskets full of fish from the smaller ships docked in the port. He just gestures to keep following him, and he leads you into a small, I wouldn't say small, like a medium-sized shack, big enough to have pretty much just one room in it. He opens the door and guides you inside. A small fire is going off in the corner. Please, sit down, and we will discuss this further.
Why did Cole not take you?
Is this like conscription? He's taking the men for war, or?
Let's sit down and let's have some tea. And then I would like to ask you some questions first. And then if everything goes well, then
Insight.
Then I will tell you. Go ahead.
Insight.
Definitely.
I rolled a 19 plus wisdom 21.
Natural 20.
Yeah.
Ivan, you just staying covered up? Okay.
He's
So-
focused too much on hiding his face.
You can't really even see Unwin at all.
I got a 25.
Both of you do notice that with his kind gestures and the way that he's talking, he does seem to be telling the truth.
Well, it wasn't so much about truth. The statement, I'm going to ask you some questions, and if it goes well, I want the intent behind that. Like was it like a live or die kind of situation? Or
It's more of a wanting to understand who you are before he starts revealing what is going on in this town.
But not necessarily.
No, not necessarily
Malicious or
like
anything
malicious.
like
Yeah,
that.
there's no malicious intent behind it at all. You guys sit down at the small round table that he's got. He grabs a pot that was over on above the fireplace and pours some tea and sits down next to you. So, a blacksmith, and you were captured by who?
I don't know a ton about him, but he called himself Solvane.
I have heard that name before.
I'm so sorry for you. Kind of a dick. Really a dick.
Didn't used to be.
Well, eventually he will be dead. I brandish my blade.
Yeah, hopefully one day we will see an end to the atrocities that have happened here. So, you managed to slay some spiders and get on that ship. Do you have any idea on what happened to the undead that were on that ship?
They were already taken care of when we got on.
Did you happen to see any demons?
We did, as a matter of fact. There was
Some fiends. Yeah.
some sort of portal on the ship that we stumbled across, and demons started coming out.
Broken now. But
One of them mentioned Cole before I killed him.
That is not good for us. It means they know what we are doing. So, I can see that you are being truthful with me, and the three of you look very strong. I can tell you right now that what Cole has planned, he is a monster.
Cole is a monster?
Cole is a monster. He is an arch-lich that has plagued these lands, and it was 20 years ago that the Grey Land encroached on our lands and killed our fields, and the undead began to attack our walls. We managed to fend them off for a while, until Cole himself showed up. He blew down our only defense and slaughtered many of the men here, and after rounding up many of us, gave us one way out. We either give him all of the able-bodied men and agree to keep producing bodies for him, and he would spare our lives.
How do you produce bodies without men?
Many of the men were married here. In fact, many of the women are in their first term of pregnancy. and it is only a matter of time before Cole's armies show up once again to claim the men that would have grown into age. Yeah, you guys did notice that some of the women in town, some of them seemed to be pretty close to giving birth. Some of them didn't even look like they were even pregnant. But from what he's telling you, many of the women are pregnant. And from the way he's talking, it wasn't anything like unwilling. Many of the women seem happy with their pregnancy. But the only thing, the gloom that is in this town is the fact that any of the male boys, once they come of age, will have to go with Cole for whatever means.
The demon, what he said, it sounded like the demons and Cole are enemies.
I don't know. The only thing that I know is that the demons have started fighting back against the undead, and we have seen the devastation from the top of our wall. We've been lucky so far, as none of the demon or the undead themselves have tried to come and attack the city. I think that is due to the undead that guard our city gates on the outside.
Undead?
Yeah, they are. I can't even describe them. They're not your typical undead. These ones are armored and have weapons.
Have they fought much with those weapons and armor?
Some of the undead have made their way to the city and have tried to enter the city. These undead have managed to cut them away and keep them out of the city.
Okay, so different undead. I'm going to describe the armor I crafted and ask if it's the same thing that we're wearing.
Oh, these ones are different. These ones are like a knight's armor, like almost a personal guard armor.
Hired someone different because you're a shitty job.
It was sabotage. And good sabotage. It looked functional.
Sometimes shitty on purpose is a good thing.
If their swords weren't shitty, I wouldn't have to take any claw attacks.
I wasn't considering what would be used in a sword.
Just make the sword dull. Why make it break?
Dull is noticeable. It falling apart in the heat of combat. Different.
What if you say, man?
Anyways.
No, continue. It has been a while since we've had such cheer in the village. So, what are you going to do from here now? Are you here to stay in the town? Are you going to help us?
Do you have a forge in the town?
We do. It's not very big, and it's mostly for maintaining the ships and some of the fishing hooks and the lines.
And from this house, where would I find the forge?
He just gestures off in a direction. If you just go down in that direction, you'll see it.
And I stand up. At what length is your character's hair, Kovdar? Is it like longer?
Yeah, it's like 2 feet.
Kovdar, question.
Yes.
And I grab some of your hair. Can I have this?
Seems like you already have
And
it.
I walk out. Perfect.
All right, your passive perception's at least 14, isn't it?
15.
15. Yeah, you do notice that there is a smokestack coming out, and you pretty much gather that's where the forge is at.
I go to the forge, and is there anyone at the forge?
There is, she is a more bulkier built woman. You can see the ponytails coming off the side of the back of her head. And she's wielding a hammer, and she just seems to be heating up a hook and bending it around and quenching it in the water.
Does it look like she's doing anything wrong?
No, she seems to know what she's doing.
Perfect. I'm going to ignore her, and I'm going to inspect the metal that I got from the sword, the shards, along with I'm also going to inspect any arcane properties from the hair.
Okay, she's going to turn and look at you and go, "Can I help you?"
Maybe in a bit. I'm probably going to start crafting something here shortly.
I have never seen you in this city before.
Yes, name's Paul.
Eileen.
Nice to meet you. Just pulled in.
And by pulled in, you mean the ship over there?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh. Anything that I can help you with?
I should be good. She could see the smith's tools very clearly on my sides. And I have this giant chunk of metal.
you just leave her standing there, and you just grab your smithing tools out of your apron and just go to work.
Start inspecting the metal, seeing what kind of density it might be having there, and
So, go ahead.
then arcane checks on it to see any properties it might.
Okay, so
latently have.
how high? What all are you proficient in? You're proficient in
Arcana.
Arcana.
I have Arcana to be able to inspect the arcane elements of the things I'm trying to craft with.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and stick with.
I'll set the
Arcana.
spider down too.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah. You just drop it, and she just kind of steps back, and just like.
Don't worry, it's dead. Probably.
Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check, and then go ahead and roll me a check with your smithing tools.
Okay. And then would I also have an Arcana check for the hair as well?
That's kind of just go ahead and give me those 2 rolls, and that'll just kind of set everything for right now.
8 on Arcana.
Oof.
21 on the smithing.
Okay, so you take the hair of Kovdar, and it's a blonde hair, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem to radiate any magical energies or any magical properties, but you know for a fact that you seen divine energy coming from Kovdar. The sword, on the other hand, it's a weird material. It's almost like a rock, but yet it's malleable like steel.
And I definitely have enough to make a battle axe out of this. The way you described it, it seems like I should have plenty.
You could make, I would say you'd have enough material, because you have about 3 pieces about, yay big. So it's like a 5 to 6 inch wide blade that's been shattered. And then
And I have 3 of them.
Yeah, you got 3 of them.
I should be able to make a battle axe out of that.
Like just the axe head, probably.
I would say just 1 axe head is what
axe
you could
head
make.
and maybe a bit of like fortification around the edge. So like the axe head's one side of it.
Yeah, that would be enough to make about one side of it. Because you got to figure you got to also make the material that wraps around too. It's all one piece.
I mean, there's probably plenty of other metal lying around.
That's true. You could do some metallurgy and see if you could meld it together.
Some smithing.
Okay. So
Metallurgy's
while
in the
I'm gonna put a pause on you, I'm gonna leave you. We're gonna go back to you two. You two are with Unwin right now, as Paul got up and left. What do you wish to do?
Why did he take my hair?
I don't know, man. Maybe some kind of weird fetish thing. Who knows?
So Kovdar, at this point, you do see Unwin. He's drinking his tea, but he seems to be like trying to look under the hood of Ivan.
Stop, bastard.
A little peek. I want to
no.
see what do you have under there.
Very ugly face.
So how did you manage to get like that?
Long story. Too long.
Well, I don't think you're gonna be going anywhere anytime soon. You could tell me.
Oh yeah, curiosity killed the cat.
I'll get you one of these times. Govdar, you are awfully large for a human.
I am a Goliath.
That is
Really?
because I am a Goliath.
The Goliaths that I know normally are bald and have tattoos all over themselves.
I am the best Goliath.
Well, I see that I'm in fine company regardless.
Are there any women in this town proficient in magic?
Unfortunately, no. We are just a simple fishing village. We really don't have a need. Why? What is it you are looking for?
I just have a lot of questions.
It seems that all of us have questions these days.
Do you have any idea what that was, Ivan?
What was what?
Out of character, you saw us flying, and you've never seen me do that before.
But you did once see
You
him
never
just turn
told me
invisible.
about his divine powers, did you?
Nope,
Yeah,
didn't say
no,
anything.
no. So yeah,
I just was like suddenly just really interested.
No, I mean like
His
your
hair.
old character.
no,
No.
yeah, no,
No.
Yeah, so
It's something that Chiron, because of how arrogant he was, Chiron didn't even consider the fact that he might not know.
That's true.
Chiron's just always thinking to himself, God damn demigod bastard.
all right. So Kovdar, Ivan, you guys are still at the table. Unwin seems to be very curious of Ivan. You guys, I am gonna give it to you. You guys did see I wouldn't say like a general store, but you do see a shop that has many general goods. I'm not sure exactly what you'd call it. It's like a storehouse, maybe would be the right word. I don't know. But you did see one on your way in. So, what do you guys wish to do?
I want to go get some rope.
How about some chain?
Why would you want rope? You just fall.
Yes, that did not work out too good.
Yes, I kind of want rope too. And better clothes.
Yeah, your tattered robe there looks like it's seen better days.
Would you stop looking at me?
Well, you could always just take it off.
Wait,
You perverted old man.
I'm not a pervert. I'm just curious about you.
There is still one intact rope within the group, though. It's the one that we used to climb up.
Yes,
When we were climbing, there's still one. Probably I have it, though.
but I feel like we need more.
Yeah.
So I'll just mark that down on my list.
Well, you guys are more than welcome to stay in the town. Do you plan on staying the night?
Yes,
That'd probably be a safe bet.
I will see what I can do on finding you some lodging.
Question: are there a lot of single ladies in town?
All the single ladies. They're all pregnant.
Not all of them.
I'm sure not all of them.
And you ladies looking for impregnation. I am ready to go.
I got what you need.
And it is superior in every way.
Oh, my word.
Anyways.
With what is going on with our town, it is probably best that you don't approach any of the women.
What if they approach me?
If they approach you, that is a different thing.
He just goes out to the street
And do the
corner
women
and
approach
disposes.
this man?
I can assure you that if we were under better circumstances, I would imagine there would be some women that wouldn't mind spending some time with you privately. But right now, no one can be happy with an outcome like that.
Yeah. I would say I would help you, but I don't think I could defeat an arch-lich myself.
Have faith, Ivan.
Shut the fuck.
He is very powerful, and he's also well protected. He showed up with another one of his monstrosities during that day. It was ungodly.
Maybe we could team up with the demons.
I don't know who is good and who is bad. Maybe they are both bad.
Yeah, but you pick the lesser of the evils.
We don't know which one is lesser, though. We don't know anything.
Well, one is causing a great death to appear around the world.
When
The
have
demons are
when have
just
you known that
teleporting.
demons do anything good, though?
Never, but have they done anything as drastic as this guy is doing? No.
I'm
Unless
sure.
it's the two evils.
I'm sure whatever they want is not good.
And then we turn on them after we deal with the undead.
The old backstab.
The old backstab move.
You guys sit around, you finish your tea, and it starts to get dark. What do you guys wish to do?
I want to go to the store
Okay.
because
me too.
I use basically everything in my burglar's pack.
Yeah, I pretty much drained every bit of your guys' resources, which was cool. I actually think that's the first time I got you guys, actually any of my players, to run from a fight.
You didn't drain my resources. You took them forcibly.
So you guys, at least you, I don't know if you're going to follow him, but you guys are going to head to the store, air quote store. So we're going to go back to Paul. So Paul, you have investigated the hair. You have not found any divine or magical energies in the hair, but you know that there is something about Kovdar. But you instead put that to the side and grab the material. The material is very rock-like, but malleable like steel. What do you wish to do?
I'm gonna try and combine it with like forge welds with some other softer metals to make the inside portion of the blade, and then have the demon sword material be the edge.
Okay. So
realistically, I think I just need to forge weld.
no, it's fine.
You understand?
Yeah. So you're trying to make a 2-headed great axe, right?
So yeah, and then the inside is just going to be a softer metal, and then it's going to be forge welded once it starts getting out to where it fans out to be the better metal.
The abyssal steel.
The abyssal steel. We're calling it abyssal steel now.
Yes, we'll call it abyssal steel.
Okay.
Okay. So as you don't have any metal on you, right?
You said there was metal lying around.
There is metal lying around.
I just grabbed some metal.
At that point, you hear a voice behind you. Excuse me, that's mine. Are you going to pay for it?
Of course, yes. And then
All right. So with no, you don't look like you've got anything on you. She's gonna.
I'm in scraps.
Yeah.
The only thing I have on me is my sword and my smith's tools, and the spider body.
Yeah. No, she's gonna walk over and try to grab the steel from your hand. You don't look like you could afford any of this.
My friends have money. I'm just in a rush because I have thoughts in my head about what I'm making.
Well, then you go get your friends and bring money here. You pay for the material that you're going to use.
I'm gonna try and persuade her. Come on, I promise I'm good for it. Just please.
Well, she looks down at your belt. Go ahead and roll your persuasion.
21.
Ooh. So, she looks down at your belt. Did you forge that?
Yes, I did.
And your friends have money?
Yes. I actually have no clue what they have, so I should probably make a deception roll.
All right, make a deception roll.
Can I tell you guys have money? Do you guys have money?
Did we say anything about money?
I even asked you.
So you guys
you would have heard coins clinking.
You have stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have seen a coin pouch. How big is the pouch?
Then it's not a lie.
240 gold.
Holy crap! Yeah, it's a pretty decent size.
They have money.
I took Chiron's gold.
Oh. Wait, what? How? That's right. You got to loot my body. I forgot about that. Chiron was kind of hoarding some gold,
thieving
too.
bastard. All right, yeah, no, you are not lying. Okay, all right. I'm gonna just keep an eye on you.
Thank you. Yes.
And she lets go and steps back.
She's gonna see some of the best forging she's ever seen. Do I have advantage on forging?
Okay, so here's the thing. So I would say it's probably 5-6 o'clock in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. So the sun is definitely on its way down. Mm-hmm. Forging an axe could take you all night and then some. Are you willing to do that? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you are letting the creative spark ignite and seeing this weapon into perfection.
He hasn't had inspiration to forge a weapon other than the one he made out of desperation that he has on him in over a year.
Okay.
He's not letting a little bit of grogginess stop him. He's
okay. So,
ready to go.
Tell me. So you're using the abyssal steel for the edge of the blade. Yep. You're using a typical steel or mild steel for the flexibility for
the inside,
the base of the weapon.
Of the
what are you using for the handle?
So is there any wood in the area? Or would I be able to make a decent handle out of metal?
Yeah, you could make one out of
heavy.
metal. It would be really heavy. You can. There is some wood supplies around.
Okay.
As some
I'm very strong.
Best not to push it. I am going to grab some wood and I'm going to attempt to get some webbing from the spider.
Oh, Okay. So tell me a little bit about the process. This is gonna probably come down to the point where you're gonna have to watch some blacksmithing stuff and see how they do some things to come up with some ideas. Oh, you have
some Forged in Fire or something. I think so.
Forged in Fire is a
That's a
decent
good
one.
show.
They're
Most of what I've watched.
it's really showy is my only problem with it.
It is, but they do talk at least a little bit about some of the techniques they're doing.
Okay.
From what I understand there, as long as I clean up the metal some, it should be able to forge weld together along the seam.
As long as the metals are compatible. So at this point, as you start to forge out, you start with you take many of the fragments of metal that she has around, and you start forge welding these pieces together yourself, folding them over and back over to get you a nice, decent layer count within a block of steel that you will start to heat up and then start to fan out. You turn the blade over on its side and taking a chisel, run the chisel down the length of where you want the blade, folding the metal open to accept the abyssal metal. You throw the abyssal metal into the fire and it heats up, but it doesn't seem to be malleable. It's not hot enough.
I'm going to draw back my hammer and utilize the divine power of inflict burns to try and further heat the metal.
Okay.
A quick prayer to Lyra, I think is what it said.
Lyra?
To bless my hammer with the heat to forge the metal, and I will.
All right.
Hammer down.
At this point, I want you to go ahead and roll me percentiles.
Oh shit. 48.
Okay.
Can he use inspiration on that?
Does he
I
have?
do have
He
inspiration.
does.
You can use inspiration on that.
51.
A little bit
It
better.
went over 50. I mean, that's pretty good.
Okay. You can see as you strike the abyssal metal that it's not hot enough. It does dent, but only just because the metal has somewhat softened from the intense heat from the fire. You, saying a quick prayer to your god, you actually feel an intense heat coming from your hammer itself. Your hammer doesn't go yellow. It doesn't go orange from the heat, but instead it burns an intense white. As you strike the material once again, you actually infuse the abyssal metal with tremendous amounts of heat, and it becomes more. It finally starts to warm up to the point where you can start to forge it out. You manage to make the bar, the two individual strips that you need to make the final edge of this. You insert them, and you don't even, at this point, you don't even have to put the material back into the forge. Just the sheer heat from your hammer is allowing you to keep the material warm enough to forge out. So, with him still working on that, what do you guys wish to get from the general goods store?
So all I care about is rope and new clothes.
Okay.
And I will also ask that lady there if she could find my friends. I'll tell her who they were talking to. If you could go find my friends, they can pay you for the metal, and if you could have the big guy, you'll recognize him. Big guy, come. I need his assistance. And I'm gonna keep forging.
Yeah, so she responds to you, but you're too lost in thought.
Yes.
So you don't even catch what she says.
So I want to get rope, grappling hook, and more pythons.
Okay. So you enter the building, the small door or the bell up in the corner rings. You see a younger lady come out. She greets you. And you guys, she manages to show you around. There is a heavy like canvas material that they use for the sails. you can tell that she actually mends most of the nets and the sails as they bring them to her from the fishing boat. She has plenty of the material left over, and it's just enough that you could have make a makeshift cloak out of it.
Perfect.
You do manage to find a 60-foot piece of rope, of hemp rope, over on the wall, whatever that costs in the book. And then what else do you want?
Grappling hook and pythons.
So they have plenty of like large fishing hooks, and one of them is a 3-pronged hook that could easily be a makeshift grappling hook. And then as far as the other things, like pythons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't have any pythons.
Wouldn't they have like maybe some stakes?
They have.
Pythons are forgeable.
We don't want to rely on them too much.
They've got. So all they have is buckets full of just heavy nails, but they don't seem heavy enough to hold the weight of somebody.
I'll just get the fishing hook and the rope then.
Okay. So whatever they are cost in the book. Ivan, Kovdar, is that all you guys want to do?
Yeah, how much did that cost me, the cloak?
Cloak would be around, I would say probably around 2 to 3 silver.
Okay.
Sorry, what did you got a
Grappling hook and rope.
2 gold piece for the grappling hook.
Oh wow, that's expensive.
1 gold piece for the rope. Unless you want silk rope.
Holy crap, it's a gold for a rope?
It's 10 gold for a silk rope.
What's the difference?
Wow.
One's made of silk.
Is it stronger? What's going on there?
It doesn't say.
I think silk rope is stronger, but I'm not sure.
Rope, whether made of hemp or silk, has 2 hit points and can be burst with a DC 17 strength check. You're paying for flavor.
Oh, that's stupid.
Unless you want to make it strong. I don't know if silk would be stronger.
I have no idea.
Do they have oil for my lantern?
Yes, they have oil.
I would definitely want some of that. 1 silver for a flask. I'll get 3 flasks of oil.
Okay. You guys finish buying your goods. Kovdar, you leave, giving the lady behind the desk a wink. So I know you'd flirt with her.
Yes.
You guys exit the building. Paul, you are still forging your battle axe. So, what do you two wish to do?
I guess just go back to the man's house because we don't know where we're staying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So at this point, Paul, I would like you to go ahead and roll me a series of checks.
Okay.
These are going to be smithing checks.
Does that lady find me?
No, nobody comes for you.
That bitch.
Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's say the blade, you're a master crafter, so let's say right around 8 hours for you to complete the blade.
Okay.
So go ahead and make me a series, so 8 tool checks.
If he was gone that long and I didn't know where he went, I would probably try to find
Any
him.
chance I gotta have some kind of advantage?
You add your proficiency and like all of your stuff for using your smithing tools.
Yeah, I just am worried. Okay.
After a couple hours, I would have tried to look for him.
Okay. So after a while, you guys can hear the pinging of a hammer in the town, and you guys do end up finding Paul at the forge. So go ahead and roll your checks, Paul.
Okay, first one's gonna be a 28. 13, 22, a 27, a 26, a nat 1,
Ooh.
which is a 10 still, another 28, a nat 20. Wait, that was the last one.
Oh my gosh, just put 20 nat.
Well, it'd be a 29, but
And then put nat 1 next to that 10. Let me have that paper.
that's really good rolls for 8 rolls, honestly.
That is really, really good roll.
Only a couple of low rolls.
So you guys watch as this man born of purpose continuously forges this piece of metal into a 2-headed axe. It gets late in the night. What do you guys wish to do?
I mean, I would go to sleep unless...
I would say at some point, probably about dusk. So he just starts forging out the axe head itself. Unwin comes to you and tells you that he has found a place for you to stay. It is a place you will have to yourself. No one else will be there, but all three of you can stay in there for the night. So you go.
Are they asked for any money from the lady?
No, she's actually watching you.
Perfect.
She has not turned away from what you're working on.
Excellent. I'm gonna mesmerize her with the skill.
All right. So, you guys make your way off to bed. Paul, you continue through the night. You are completely enveloped in this picture that you have in your mind. The night goes on, the day comes. You have managed to put a beautiful bevel on the edge of this. She has a large grindstone, one of the ones that you can sit down on. You pump the wheel and start grinding away at the material. The sparks run wild, but it's not from the axe. The axe itself seems to whittle down the stone as you have to continuously pump at the wheel to try to keep up the friction. This material is definitely unearthly. You spend another hour just carving away at the edge, honing it to its finest blade. The morning comes. The fresh air greets you as you put away your hammer, as the white heat from it has dissipated. The coal and the forge have long burned out. Before you is a beautiful two-headed axe with a wooden handle.
So, the handle, I would have looked for the sturdiest piece of wood that I could have possibly found.
They have oak.
So I would have gotten some of that oak and shaved it into a good handle. Like I said, I gathered some of the webbing from the spider, which I remember being fairly good webbing.
Mm-hmm.
So for the blade, when it comes to where where it meets the handle in the center, I'm going to have metal going up from it with spikes in it to be hammered into the wood.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take that silk and I'm going to wrap it around to try and make it adhere so it sticks better, make it really solid. I'm going to solid white. It's going to be wrapped in that webbing.
Oh.
And I'm going to have it go down the handle all the way to the bottom where the handle would be. And then I'm going to, if I can get leather,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to wrap the handle in some good leathering and get it set into the wood and pinned in to that wood with the webbing. And I want to have maybe about 10 feet of webbing wrapped tightly into what could be used as like a rope.
Okay.
And about 10 feet of it where there's something that could attach to someone's wrist.
Okay. Okay, so the spider is still pretty fresh. And you actually take a knife and cut open the husk, getting to the web glands itself. There's plenty of material there as you take the handle of the stick and dip it into the glands and then just start rolling the wood, causing the silk itself to attach to this. As you pull it out, you take your heated hammer and cut the webbing. You take it over to the forge and heat the webbing up, trying to shrink it and burn most of the adhesive material off of the surface. You take the leather and wrap it around, pinning with 4 tacks on both the top and the bottom. You take more of the silk, doing some of the similar process, and weave it into a long rope, and then taking another thick section of leather and making it into a belt buckle that can easily be wrapped and cinched to a wrist.
The blade itself, to try and lighten it up, I would have tried to have beveled the softer metal. If I couldn't get it to the point where I kind of just put kind of like decorative sections where there wasn't metal, like opening it up, trying to take off some excess weight to make it more wieldable.
Okay. So you add in some of the decorative design, opening sections up without ruining the structure of the axe itself. Okay.
That's the plan.
Kovdar, Ivan, you guys awaken inside the small shack. You guys make your way back to Paul as he swings down a two-handed axe into a thick piece of wood, and it cleaves the wood completely in half with ease. And that is where we'll end tonight.
Nice. And Paul looks exhausted as fuck.
Yes, you have 1 point of exhaustion. The TastyDoom podcast is an unofficial fan content permitted under the fan content policy, not approved or endorsed by Wizards. Portion of the material used is property of Wizards of the Coast, Wizards of the Coast, LLC. Music is by Epidemic Sound. If you have questions, concerns, advice, or ideas that you'd like to tell us about, then feel free to email us at tastydoom.podcast@outlook.com. If you've liked our content, then feel free to join us on Twitter at tasty_doom. And remember to stay tasty.